Okay. I'm not very good at Zoom, so don't judge me. I don't really know. Okay. So this is my IRP question is, well, I'm Sophie Housey, and my IRP question is, how can Detroit cater to a culturally diverse community through restaurants, arts, and development? So I did a lot of research on the history of Detroit to better understand why where we're at today, but I narrowed it down to one slide. So first, what happened to Detroit? Prior to the Detroit riots, Detroit was the fourth largest city in the United States. Though afterwards, the economy began to diminish due to populations of people leaving and over 1,000 buildings burned to the ground. When large companies began to leave Detroit, over 350,000 jobs were lost as a result of the 1967 riots. Tensions were high in Detroit before and after the riots because many African Americans in Detroit were unemployed, racially segregated, had to deal with police brutality, which resulted in lack of economic and educational opportunities that were equal to those of whites. These are just some of the circumstances that preceded and followed the Detroit riots in the 1960s. Now, kind of a jump to today, people from all over want to come to Detroit to get involved in the new urban scene, where there are many restaurants, art, and developments. Firstly, art has allowed people to create things out of the rubble, which is helping Detroit become more vibrant and welcoming, which is why people are starting to come. Scott Hawking, a well-known artist in Detroit, stated that the DIY culture is in our DNA, which is helping to push the city in a positive direction. So I found this map, and there are 10 different sections of Detroit categorized into, you see right over there. And this map had each name of the restaurants in each section. So each section I counted how many restaurants there were. There's 138 in downtown, which is the most. The rest of them had ranging from 50 restaurants to 70 restaurants. And yeah, I looked up each restaurant in the sections, and then I categorized them into, Lebanese, American food, Italian, Mexican, so forth. And I found out that there are 5 times more American food restaurants, / bar food restaurants in Detroit compared to every other cuisine. Therefore, dominant category is American bar food throughout the 1,000 restaurants, demonstrating that Detroit does not cater well to all ethnicities. So next, I looked at 20 different major cities around the country, and LA and New Orleans had the most similar demographic distributions to Detroit. However, their most common restaurant cuisines were Mexican and Cajun, respectively, unlike Detroit's typical American cuisine. This goes to show that Detroit is not catering to their diverse culture population spread as other big cities are. In order for Detroit to continue their rise in success, they should start expanding their restaurant choices to Mediterranean, Mexican, Asian, Cajun. But yeah, this took me so long to compare ethnicity to restaurants and population and size. Okay, next. Sorry, 1 second. There are many different art installations and art pieces around the Detroit area. Many of these installations are dedicated to bring more people into Detroit, such as the Heidelberg Project, which is shown on this side of the screen. As I mentioned in the introduction, DIY culture is very alive in Detroit. People from all over coming to Detroit because it is one of the few places in the country where people can freely graffiti abandoned houses or tag buildings where others have been before. According to my research says, there has even been a Bansky installation inside of the Packard plant. Though the public is not allowed to go inside, many people have traveled far. I know some people from hour or two outside of Detroit that have gone to go see the famous artwork that's inside of the plant. Here on my Instagram, I visited 2 graffiti projects. The first one is the Lincoln Street Art Park, and the second one is the Bee Recycling. This Bee Recycling place is down the street from the art park. The art park is just kind of a collection of random pieces of metal and graffiti. So this is what I meant by tagging. Artists come in, graffiti. Sometimes they graffiti over other people's, which you're not supposed to do, and then they'll tag their whatever if they're famous. and then people want to go see them because there's a big art following that I don't know if anyone's really interested in it, but yeah, you can see it on Instagram and stuff. Lastly, developments are a major part of how Detroit caters to a culturally diverse community. Simply having new places to shop or new hotels, like a Chanel hotel pictured, have been helping the community band together like never before. For example, um, the new Spirit Plaza is another place where people can now connect. This new addition to Detroit, according to Andrew Housey, has helped bring people together in the city. Yeah, so he helped to redo this part of it. You guys, it's hard to explain. It's it's like by the Riverwalk. Oh, I'm not very good at directions downtown. I mean, I should be, but okay. As I'd shown in previous slides, here's my Instagram I've been working on this semester to showcase what Detroit has to offer. In addition to posting what Detroit has, I've been investigating what Detroit needs to cater to a culturally diverse community, which I mentioned before with the restaurants, but I mean, developments in art have been doing pretty well catering to the community, such as like festivals for certain ethnicities and cultures. My Instagram had 250 followers from the beginning, but it's decreased quite a bit, sadly, considering I've not been able to post due to COVID-19. But the main goal of my Instagram was to determine how the city of Detroit embraces culture in the form of eateries, art, festivals, and developments. Through Instagram, I can showcase what Detroit has to offer in these areas and obtain ideas for advancement in these areas. I did a little bit on festivals. I didn't really research a lot. I mean, Mopop and kind of those concerts happening this summer. I was going to do more research on those, but due to COVID, I was not able to really, draw an audience to my Instagram to want to go there. But yeah, I felt like Instagram was an easy way for people to follow what I was doing and see, like I would post like every week, like different places to eat and stuff. But lastly, here are all the places I was planning on going / visiting this spring. I wanted to do like food reviews of a bunch of different restaurants and take pictures of the food I was eating. But yeah, due to training in Florida and Corona, I was not able to reach my goal of 25 pictures. So that was disappointing, but yeah, so big thanks to all these people that helped me below.